far beneath the waves of the sapphire sea, where sunlight danced like glittering ribbons and coral castles rose like dreamlike cathedrals, there existed a world few humans could ever imagine, the kingdom of Atlantica, ruled by the mighty and kind Sea King. His empire stretched across the ocean floor, filled with wondrous gardens of glowing sea flowers and forests of swaying seaweed that shimmered in the light of the surface above. In this majestic kingdom lived 6 daughters, each more beautiful than the last, but none as curious and pure-hearted as the youngest, Princess Ariel, the Little Mermaid. Ariel was unlike her sisters who loved singing with dolphins and playing among the coral towers. She was fascinated by the world beyond the water. Her heart longed for the mysterious realm above the waves, the land of humans, of sunlight and fire and strange creatures who walked upon 2 legs. Every day she would swim upward to the edge of her father's borders, peeking through the shimmering surface at ships that passed by, marveling at the colors, the laughter, and the music carried by the wind. Ariel's room was filled with treasures she collected from shipwrecks, silver forks, gleaming mirrors, pearls, and trinkets. Each object whispered stories to her imagination. She would ask her best friend Flounder, a shy but loyal little fish, "Do you think humans are happy up there, Flounder? Do they love the way we do?" Flounder would wiggle nervously and reply, "Oh, Ariel, it's dangerous up there. Your father would be furious if he knew you swam so close to the surface." Ariel giggled softly, her laughter like the chiming of bells underwater. "Oh, Flounder, how can the world above be dangerous when it looks so beautiful?" On the day of her 15th birthday, Ariel's grandmother placed a delicate crown of pearls upon her head. "Now, my child," she said with a loving smile, "you are old enough to rise to the surface and see the human world for yourself. But remember, the sea and the sky are not one. We belong here." Ariel nodded respectfully, but her heart raced with anticipation. As the first rays of dawn filtered through the ocean, she swam upward, faster and faster, her red hair streaming like a ribbon behind her. When she broke through the surface, her eyes widened in wonder. The sky stretched endlessly, painted in gold and pink hues, and for the first time, she felt the warmth of the sun on her face. She laughed, twirling joyfully on the waves. Then, in the distance, she saw a great ship gliding across the water. Music echoed from it, drums, laughter, and human voices. She swam closer, hiding behind a rock, peeking at the deck where sailors danced and celebrated. Among them stood a handsome young man with kind eyes and dark hair, Prince Eric. He was laughing with his men, thanking them for celebrating his birthday. Ariel's heart fluttered. She had never seen anyone like him. His movements were strong yet gentle, and when he smiled, it seemed the stars themselves bowed to his light. Ariel whispered, "He's wonderful." And before we go deeper into this magical journey, dear listeners, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to English Fairy Tales, and ring the bell icon so you never miss a story filled with adventure, love, and courage. Stay with us till the end, because Ariel's tale will remind you that dreams, no matter how impossible, can come true when you believe in them. As night fell, the celebration on the ship grew louder. Lanterns swayed, casting golden light across the waves. Ariel watched in awe. But suddenly, dark clouds gathered and thunder rumbled. The sea turned wild. The sailors scrambled as the wind howled. Lightning split the sky, and waves crashed against the hull. Ariel's heart leaped in fear. The ship was breaking apart. She saw Prince Eric struggling to hold the wheel, trying to save his crew, but a massive wave swept him overboard. Without a second thought, Ariel dove beneath the raging waters, her tail slicing through the stormy sea. She searched desperately until she found him sinking deeper. Unconscious, wrapping her arms around him, she swam upward with all her strength. They broke through the surface, and Ariel carried him toward the shore, singing softly though she knew he could not hear. Her song, pure and filled with love, wrapped around them like a prayer. When they reached the beach, Ariel laid him gently on the sand, brushing the wet hair from his face. "Please wake up," she whispered. The morning sun rose, painting the world in gold. Soon, she heard voices approaching, a young maiden and her attendants from a nearby temple. Ariel panicked. She could not be seen, hiding behind a rock. She watched as the girl found the prince and called for help. Eric stirred, his eyes fluttered open, and when he saw the girl, he smiled faintly, believing she had saved him. Ariel felt a pang in her heart but smiled sadly. "At least he lives," she murmured. Then, with one last look, she dove back into the sea. Back in her ocean home, Ariel's mind and heart were in turmoil. She tried to forget him, but every song, every dream reminded her of his face. Her sisters noticed her silence. "Ariel, you're quieter than usual," said one. have you fallen in love? Ariel blushed and swam away. Even her father noticed her sadness. My daughter, said the Sea King gently, the human world brings nothing but sorrow. Promise me you will forget it. But she couldn't. Every night, she swam to the surface, gazing at the distant castle on the shore, watching the prince walk its gardens. Flounder, worried, asked, Ariel, why torture yourself? She smiled wistfully. Because, Flounder, my heart belongs to that world now. Days passed, and Ariel's longing grew unbearable. Then one moonlit night, she made a choice that would change her life forever. She swam beyond her father's kingdom, into the dark part of the ocean where few dared to go, the home of the sea witch, Ursula. The sea grew colder, filled with strange shapes and glowing eyes. Ariel trembled but pressed on, guided by her love and her dream. I must see her, she whispered. She's the only one who can help me become human. Little did she know the price of such a wish. As Ariel swam deeper into the forbidden depths of the sea, the once bright corals turned to shadowy stones, and the warm glow of sunlight faded into eerie green mist. Strange creatures with glowing eyes slithered among the rocks, whispering warnings to turn back, but Ariel pressed on. Her heart pounded with a mix of fear and determination. She reached a place where the sea floor was littered with the remains of shipwrecks, broken masts, rusted anchors, and skeletons of long-forgotten sailors. There, hidden within a hollow cave lined with dark seaweed, lived the sea witch Ursula. The water trembled slightly as Ariel approached. Ursula, a massive figure with tentacles black as midnight, turned slowly in her swirling cauldron of glowing potions. Ah, if it isn't the king's youngest daughter, she crooned in a deep, silky voice. I've been expecting you. Ariel gasped softly, clutching her chest. You know why I'm here? Ursula chuckled, a sound like rolling thunder. Of course, my dear. You're not the first little mermaid who's come to me with a broken heart. You want to be human, don't you? You want to win the heart of that handsome prince. Ariel hesitated, then nodded bravely. Yes, I love him more than anything. I would give anything to be with him. Ursula's smile widened. Anything, you say? Well then, my dear, I can make your wish come true. I can give you legs that will carry you across the land. You'll walk, dance, and live among humans. But, she paused, her eyes gleaming with wicked delight. There's a price. Ariel's tail trembled. What kind of price? Ursula's laughter echoed through the cave. Oh, nothing much, just your voice, the sweetest voice in all the 7 seas. You'll have your beauty, your grace, your heart, but no words. If you wish to make him fall in love with you, you'll have to do it without speaking a single sound. Ariel's heart sank. Her voice was her gift, it could charm dolphins in calm storms, but her love for the prince burned brighter than her fear. If that's what it takes, she whispered, I'll give you my voice. Ursula grinned. And one more little thing, you must make him love you before the sun sets on the 3rd day. If he kisses you, a true kiss of love, you'll remain human forever. But if he marries another, you'll turn into sea foam and vanish with the dawn. Ariel hesitated. The witch's words were heavy as the ocean itself. Do you understand? Ursula asked slyly. This is no dream, my dear. Once you become human, you can never come back. Ariel looked down, tears glimmering in her eyes. I understand. With that, Ursula raised her arms and began to chant. The cave filled with swirling purple light. She took a conch shell and held it to Ariel's lips. Sing, my little mermaid. Sing your heart out. Ariel sang her final song, her voice trembling with love and sorrow. The melody filled the sea like silver threads of light. Then, with a sharp motion, Ursula trapped her voice inside the shell. Ariel gasped. She tried to speak, but no sound came out. The witch handed her a small vial filled with glowing liquid. Drink this at sunrise, Ursula said, and remember, once you step onto the shore, your tail will split into legs, but every step will feel like walking on knives. Still, you'll dance as no human ever could. Now go, my dear. Good luck, you'll need it. Ursula's laughter followed Ariel as she swam away, clutching the potion tightly to her chest. When Ariel reached the surface, the sky was painted with the first light of dawn. The castle of Prince Eric gleamed in the distance. She swam to the shore, her heart racing with hope and fear. Kneeling in the shallow waves, she whispered a silent prayer and drank the potion. Instantly, a sharp pain shot through her body. She cried out, though no sound came. Her tail shimmered, split, and transformed into 2 legs. The water around her turned red from the pain, but the next moment, the sea washed it away. Exhausted, she collapsed on the sand. When she awoke, she found herself under the warm gaze of Prince Eric. Are you all right? he asked softly, helping her to sit up. Ariel stared at him, unable to speak, but her heart leapt with joy. He smiled kindly. You must have been caught in the waves. Don't worry, you're safe now. He wrapped a cloak around her shoulders and called for his servants. They brought her to the castle, treating her with kindness. Inside the grand castle, Ariel marveled at everything: the golden halls, the mirrors, the flickering candles. She could not speak, but her eyes sparkled with wonder. The prince noticed her fascination. You're unlike anyone I've ever met, he said one evening, as they watched the sunset from the balcony. Ariel smiled, her heart full. She wished she could tell him that she was the one who saved him, that she had watched over him every night since. But her voice, her soul's song, was gone. The prince would often play his flute, and she would dance for him, her movements so graceful that everyone in the court was enchanted. Each step hurt her feet like walking on sharp glass, but Ariel never showed the pain. She only smiled, thinking, if my suffering brings me closer to him, it's worth it. Days passed like a dream. The prince grew fond of Ariel and treated her as someone precious. He would take her to the gardens, show her his ships, and tell her stories of his adventures. One evening, under the moonlight, he said gently, "You remind me of someone, the girl who saved me." Her voice was like an angel's. I wish I could find her again. Ariel's heart broke silently. She reached out, touching his hand, trying to tell him it was her, but he didn't understand. That night, as she stood by the window watching the stars, Ariel saw her sisters rise from the waves far below. Their eyes were full of worry. They called out softly, their voices carried by the wind. Ariel, oh, dear sister, come back. Father is heartbroken. Please, return before it's too late. Ariel wanted to answer, but no sound came. She waved sadly, tears streaming down her cheeks. Her sisters understood and disappeared beneath the waves, their hearts heavy. The next morning, the palace was abuzz with excitement. A royal ship had arrived, bringing a princess from a distant kingdom. The king wished his son to meet her, hoping she might be his bride. Ariel's heart pounded with dread, but she followed the prince to the docks, trying to hide her fear. When the princess stepped onto the deck, the prince froze. "It's you," he exclaimed, "the girl who saved me." Ariel's eyes widened in shock. The princess blushed modestly. "I was at the temple that morning," she said. "My maidens found you by the shore." Ariel's heart shattered. She wanted to scream, "No, it was me," but her voice, her proof, was gone. The prince's joy was pure. "Father, she's the one," he declared. "I will marry her." The court cheered, but Ariel felt the world crumble around her. She forced a smile, hiding her heartbreak as the sea breeze carried the sound of wedding bells in the distance. That night, alone on the balcony, Ariel gazed at the moon, her tears falling silently into the sea. Below, she saw her sisters again, their faces pale with sorrow. One of them held a shimmering knife. "Ariel," they cried, "the sea witch told us there's still a chance. We traded our hair for this dagger. If you kill the prince before dawn, his blood will return you to the sea and make you a mermaid again. Please, sister, save yourself." Ariel took the dagger. Trembling, she looked toward the window where the prince slept peacefully beside his bride. The waves crashed below, whispering her name. Ariel's heart ached with love and despair. She walked softly into the room, stood over him, and raised the dagger high. But when she looked at his face, so kind, so gentle, she could not do it. She loved him too much to harm him. Instead, she kissed his forehead tenderly, whispered goodbye in her heart, and ran to the deck. The sky was turning pale with dawn. With one final tear, she threw herself into the sea. But this time, instead of sinking, something magical happened. Ariel's body plunged into the sea, her tears dissolving into the foam as dawn's first light spread across the horizon. The waves embraced her gently as if the ocean itself wept for its lost daughter. She expected darkness, the end, but instead, she felt warmth and light surrounding her. The pain faded, and when she opened her eyes, she found herself rising, not sinking. The sea below glimmered like a mirror, and around her danced figures made of light, beautiful, radiant beings with flowing hair and transparent wings that shimmered like mist. One of them spoke in a voice soft as the wind, "Do not fear, little one, you are not lost. You are among us, the daughters of the air." Ariel blinked in awe. Who are you?" she tried to say, and to her surprise, her voice returned, soft and musical as it once had been. "We are the spirits of the air," said the eldest of them. "We were once souls who sought goodness, who sacrificed ourselves for love and kindness. You, dear Ariel, gave up your life not out of selfishness, but out of pure love. Because of that, the heavens have blessed you with a second chance. Ariel's eyes filled with wonder. A second chance? She whispered. The spirit smiled. Yes, you have become one of us, a guardian of the wind and sea. But your story is not yet over. The prince still loves you, though he does not understand why. The truth of your heart will soon be revealed. Ariel's heart leapt with hope. Can I see him again? She asked eagerly. The spirit nodded. You may. The winds will carry you wherever your heart desires. Go, child, and follow the call of love. With that, Ariel felt her body become light as air. She soared above the sea, her long hair glowing in the morning sun. Below her, the prince's ship sailed toward the royal harbor. The wedding ceremony was over, but as she looked closer, she saw confusion in the prince's eyes. He stood on the deck, gazing at the waves, lost in thought. Why does my heart feel empty? He murmured. Even though I found the girl from the temple, I can't forget the one with eyes like the sea, the one who danced without words. Ariel drifted closer, invisible to all but the winds. The ship suddenly rocked gently, as if the sea itself whispered her name. The prince turned sharply, his heart quickening. Ariel? He whispered unconsciously. At that moment, a bright glow surrounded the ship. The sea calmed, and the air shimmered with magic. The prince shielded his eyes as a voice, familiar yet divine, filled the air, the same voice that had once saved him from the storm. Eric, it called softly, follow your heart, look beyond what you see. The prince gasped. That voice, it's her, he cried. The princess beside him looked confused. My lord, what's wrong? He turned to her kindly but firmly. You saved my life that morning, but not from the sea. It was another, her song guided me, the one without a voice, who looked at me with eyes full of love. The princess smiled sadly. Then go to her, she said. If your heart belongs to her, find her. The ship reached the shore, and Eric ran down to the beach where the waves kissed the sand. The wind blew gently, and suddenly, the sea shimmered as Ariel's form began to take shape, no longer as foam, but as herself, radiant and alive. She looked at him with tears of joy. Eric, she whispered, her voice trembling. The prince froze, unable to believe his eyes. Ariel, it's you, you can speak? She nodded, smiling through tears. The spirits gave me back my voice. I never stopped loving you. Without hesitation, he ran to her, lifting her into his arms. I knew it, he said, laughing and crying at once. It was you all along, the one who saved me. Ariel nodded, resting her head on his shoulder. The sea breeze swirled around them as if the ocean itself rejoiced. At that moment, the sky brightened, and a beam of sunlight enveloped them both. From the heavens, a voice echoed softly. It was the Sea King, watching from his throne beneath the waves. My daughter, he said with pride and emotion, you have proven that love and kindness are stronger than any boundary. If this is your choice, to live among humans, then you shall have my blessing. The sea sparkled with light as the water gently receded, revealing a path of pearls that led from the shore to the castle. Ariel turned, tears of gratitude in her eyes. Thank you, father, she whispered to the sea. The prince took her hand. Come home with me, he said. Let me show you a world where you belong. Together they walked toward the castle, the ocean waves glistening behind them like a trail of memory. The people cheered as they entered, for word of the prince's mysterious savior had spread through the kingdom. That very evening, a grand celebration was held. The castle was decorated with garlands of roses and lanterns that floated in the night sky. Music filled the air, flutes, harps, and violins blended into a melody that carried across the sea. Ariel danced gracefully with the prince, her gown shimmering like the ocean itself. For the first time, each step brought her not pain but joy. As she twirled, she laughed, her voice ringing clear and pure. You dance as if the sea itself taught you, the prince said. She smiled. Perhaps it did. The Sea King watched from afar, his heart swelling with pride and peace. The merfolk gathered near the surface, their eyes shining as they saw their beloved princess radiant and free. Even the Sea Witch's dark realm grew silent, her power fading into the depths as Ariel's love and courage purified what had once been shadowed. The winds whispered through the world that the Little Mermaid had found her true home. As the night wore on, the prince and Ariel stood on the balcony, looking at the moonlit sea. It's strange, Eric said softly, how the ocean feels alive as if it watches over us. Ariel smiled. It does. It's full of love, of memories, of magic. He took her hands. Ariel, you've shown me what love truly means, not just beauty or dreams, but courage and sacrifice. From this day, my heart belongs to you forever. Ariel's eyes sparkled with tears of joy. "And mine to you." The stars shimmered brighter, and the waves below glowed softly, as if blessing their promise. From that day on, the kingdom flourished with happiness. Ariel often walked along the beach, speaking to the sea breeze, which carried whispers of her family beneath the waves. Her sisters would sometimes surface far in the distance, waving with smiles, knowing their little sister was safe and happy. Children of the kingdom grew up hearing her story of how the Little Mermaid's courage brought two worlds together. Ariel herself would teach them about kindness, bravery, and hope. She never forgot where she came from, nor the lessons she learned in the deep blue sea. Years passed, but her love with Eric only grew stronger. They built a sanctuary near the shore, a place where sailors and travelers could find rest, and where mermaids could safely visit the land. It became a symbol of unity between two worlds that were once divided, and whenever a storm threatened the coast, Ariel would stand by the shore, sing softly, and calm the waves, her song blending with the wind, a reminder that true love's voice never fades. As time passed, the kingdom by the sea became known as the realm of harmony, where the ocean song met the laughter of humankind. Every dawn, the waves carried whispers of love, and every twilight, the sea shimmered with the colors of dreams. Ariel's days were filled with joy. She ruled beside Eric not as a queen of crowns, but as a queen of hearts. Together they built bridges between two worlds. Fishermen learned to respect the sea, never taking more than they needed, and sailors began to sing songs of the merfolk who guided lost ships home. On quiet mornings, Ariel would walk barefoot along the shore, her long red hair flowing in the breeze, her heart swelling with gratitude. The ocean no longer called her to return, it sang with her instead, a song of unity and peace. The merfolk often visited her in secret. Her father, King Triton, would rise from the depths in shimmering light to speak with her beneath the moon. "You have done what even I could not," he said one night, his trident glowing softly. "You brought understanding between our worlds. The sea will always remember you, my daughter." Ariel smiled, tears glistening like pearls. "And I will always be part of the sea," she whispered. The waves rose and fell gently, as if bowing to her words. One day, as Ariel stood on the cliffs with Eric, they saw children playing in the tide, human children and mere children together, their laughter echoing through the salt air. Eric turned to her, his eyes filled with wonder. "You see, Ariel," he said softly, "because of you, they will grow up never fearing what is different." Ariel leaned against him, her gaze dreamy. "That's what I always wanted, for love to be stronger than fear." The years rolled by like the endless tide. Ariel and Eric's love never dimmed. It deepened like the ocean's depths. When they grew older, their story became legend, told by storytellers, sung by sailors, and whispered by the waves. Children would gather at the shore and ask, "Is it true that the Little Mermaid became human?" And the elders would smile and reply, "Yes, and she still lives in the heart of every person who dares to love without limits." Even the sea witch's old cave lay quiet now, covered in coral and light. No more dark magic brewed there, only peace. It was said that even the witch's spirit found rest when she saw how Ariel's love turned pain into purpose. The world itself changed because one young mermaid believed in something greater than herself. As the final golden sunset of their story fell over the ocean, Ariel and Eric stood on the balcony one last time. The sea sparkled beneath them, alive with the songs of dolphins and the laughter of merfolk. Eric took her hand and whispered, "Do you ever miss your old home?" Ariel smiled softly. "The sea will always be my home, but so will this world. I am both and neither. I am simply Ariel." She looked toward the horizon, where the sky kissed the waves. "Love made me whole." The winds blew gently through her hair, and the stars began to shine, each one reflecting on the calm water like the eyes of old friends watching from below. Then, far out at sea, a great light rose, the sign of the Sea King's blessing. It shone brightly before fading into the heavens, leaving behind a trail of light that danced across the waves. Ariel felt peace like never before. And so, the Little Mermaid story became eternal, not just a tale of magic or transformation, but a song of courage, kindness, and hope. It taught that true love doesn't demand change, it inspires growth. It reminded everyone that sometimes, the most powerful magic of all is the strength to follow one's heart, no matter how impossible it seems. As the narrator's voice would softly close, the music swelling like the tide, and that is how the Little Mermaid found not only her voice but her destiny. A world where love bridged the sea and the shore, and where dreams, like waves, never truly end.